Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining 201 Tampa Bay Cares today for our Community Connections annual 201 Day Report to the Community. I'm Mickey Thompson, and I'm honored to serve as the President CEO of 201 Tampa Bay Cares. Our main goal for our session today is to reflect and celebrate successful partnerships and accomplishments of this past year and share information on current and emerging needs while also looking forward to our work together in 2021. We will be recording today's session and we'll be posting it for future viewing on our YouTube page. So let's get started. Today is an extremely special day for 201 Tampa Bay Cares. Every year on February 11th, the second month and the 11th day, if you get it, the second month, 211, the 11th day, 201 organizations across the United States and Canada celebrate National 201 Day. This year is even more special because we are also kicking off our year-long 20th anniversary celebration of 211 here in Pinellas County. Celebrating 201 as an easy to remember 3-digit telephone number where Pinellas County individuals and families needing help can reach out to someone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, who will listen, care, help them navigate our complex health and human service system, and connect them with local services that can help them when they need it the most. So now I'd like to introduce Lourdes Benedict, our Assistant County Administrator for Pinellas County Government, to get us started to share a little bit about Pinellas Cares. That was definitely a big event for us this year, and it was definitely a community and village effort to make that happen. Lourdes?
Thanks, Mickey. I'm very glad to be here, and thanks for giving me a couple minutes to talk about our partnerships. And before I get started with CARES, I just want to let the folks know that we have a couple of different programs with that we partner with 211. First, as you know, we've had for many years the resource and referral program, which helps a lot with suicides and folks coming in with mental health issues or just about anything they need, and you all point them in the right direction. So that's been years of partnership with you. And about 5 years ago, I know when I first started with the county, we brought up the Adult Emergency Financial Assistance Program, which still is very successful, and that's to help our adult population or those without children, to help them with rent, electric, their water bill. That has been hugely successful throughout the years, and it's been 5+ years now. It seems like just the other day we were doing a video about that in your call center. It's amazing to me. Then we moved on and developed the Rapid Rehousing Program in partnership with St. Vincent de Paul, and you all handle the financial side of that for us. Lots of meetings. I remember when that first started as well. And the next program was to help those who are homeless and connect them to services. So we have lots of programs. So in partnership with you. So when the CARES money came about and COVID started, we knew there was a lot of people with a lot of needs. And when we were provided with that money from the federal government, we knew we needed to do it quickly. You know, we didn't have the luxury of sitting around developing, all these fancy programs or bringing up new technology. We needed to hit the ground running. And I have to say, without hesitation, I knew I need to pick up the phone and give Mickey a call. They already have, programs that they do like this. We already have a partnership, and I needed to get it done quickly. So we did that, and we started the CARES program to help those who needed help with their rent, their electric, and all of the needs, because places were shut down because of the pandemic. So people were in need, and we quickly did that. I have to say that was not easy, right? We had daily meetings to make tweaks. Again, not having the luxury of developing something or having the time to do that, we knew it was essential to do it and get it done right, and get the money out to folks. So, we were building the car as we went along with that program. But, one thing I have to say again, pick up the phone, call Mickey, and without hesitation, she said yes. And then we figured it out as we went along. And because of that program, we were able to give out over $24 million to the residents of Pinellas County. over 21,000 vendor payments because we had everything paid directly to either Duke, and I see Jeff on here, you all were great partners, or to landlords. Also, I see Eric on here, great partnership and help. This was something we really did with the community. But we brought in our staff. We knew right away that the amount of staff that Mickey has is not enough for something in the middle of a pandemic, right? We were used to, maybe giving out $1 million a year for adult emergency financial assistance, and this was 24 million. So we had to gather very quickly and get it done. And I would say we did get it done. Over 10,000 households were assisted with that program. So we're all very proud of that. We also learned a lot from that of what we need to do in the future. So there were lots of blessings and lots of things that didn't go as well. Again, it was tough, but I think we learned a great deal, and I'm looking forward to what we can do and change in the future in case we need you again for something like this. Hopefully we will get out of this soon, but we're still in it. So appreciate all the work that your team has done and all of the nights and weekends of phone calls and meetings to serve our residents. So thank you, Mickey.
Thank you so much, Lourdes. And certainly, like you mentioned, it took a village, an entire community to help get those funds out to the community. And so I really would like to now introduce Eric Garduno. He is the Government Affairs Director with the Bay Area Apartment Association. And wow, did we work a lot with landlords, owners of properties here in Pinellas County in impacting family. And can you share a little bit from your perspective, the impact of the CARES program?
Sure. First off, Mickey, thank you so much for the opportunity to be part of this presentation. We really feel included and going to this whole idea of partnership. We're thankful to be part of the network that ultimately made the Pinellas CARES program such a success. And along those lines, you guys were at the center of that network, getting us all together and getting things over the finish line. So I just want to say, right off the bat, thank you to 201 Tampa Bay CARES for the great work you've done generally in the community, and then especially in the implementation of the Pinellas CARES program. So as you noted, I'm with the Bay Area Apartment Association. And I think for a lot of people that is probably just the face of like their property manager maybe. But I want to, and certainly we do represent the property managers, but our membership is much broader than that. It's all the on-site staff as well as the suppliers. And these are the folks who day in, day out really keep apartment communities running, such as plumbers and roofers and electricians who just keep everything working the way they're supposed to work. And I have to say, across the board, everyone in our industry is very thankful for the great work that 201 did with the Pinellas CARES program. I continue to get messages from members indicating that, a lot of them have properties, not just in Pinellas County, but across the Bay Area. And they continue to say that that the one in Pinellas was the one that really, was able to get things done much quicker and much more effective than some of their peers. And so on that, I think reflecting on that particular, sentiment that I've heard often, there's probably three main points that really come to mind and why we got there. One is I think there was really clear criteria and a clear application process. I think 201, you brought an incredible staff, dedicated staff with a clear implementation plan. And third is this effort around partnership that 201, I think you and Mickey and your team really led on. And I'll just say, a couple points a little bit further on each of those. I credit the county and the BOCC for their changes back in July to streamline the application process. I think going to Lourdes's point, building the car as you're driving it is an incredible challenge, and they learned as they went, and they made the adjustments needed to make this program successful. For 211 and your staff, always very professional and always, ready with answers when we had questions on how the program, was to work or to run. We, organized a webinar with you, and I think that really got a lot of my members on board and getting the information out to their residents. And then again, the partnership, just that constant communication was really important. And I've got a couple of data points actually I'd really like to share, because I think the data really speaks for itself in this case. For instance, going back to this partnership and communication of information, because of all that outreach and all that ability to just learn about the program and know what's what with it, 89% of my members had direct, we took a survey in December of my membership, and those in Pinellas, the respondents came back and 89% said that they had one-on-one conversations with their residents about the 211 program because they knew about it thanks to your efforts. I'll add 81% said that they themselves walked residents through the application process, again, because they knew about it as a result of our partnership and work together. So I just want to say, for all of us, thank you very much. Apartment communities and their staff, were able to keep operations going. They were able to pay their mortgages, pay their utilities, make their payroll. And so there's a lot of people actually whose livelihoods you helped keep going in this really dire time. So thank you very much. And we look forward to partnering with you and with the county as things move forward with the new rental assistance programs that I imagine will be coming fairly soon. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Eric. And definitely too, I also want to do a shout out, and I'm going to talk a little bit about all the other things we were doing as well at the same time of the CARES program. But really want to, again, thank the Pinellas County government and Pinellas County Human Services, the Pinellas County Communications Department, who really helped get the word out in the community as well. So we really want to do that. So thank you so much, Eric, and thank you for your partnership. With that, I am going to want to share a quick, few screens, because I want to highlight some of our other activities that we did this past year. And so hopefully you can see my screen. Like I said, this is the first time we are really doing a virtual community report, a report to the community on our 211 efforts. Most people who have joined us today know our mission is to improve lives through the power of information and hope. And for really, 211 Tampa Bay Cares to serve as a social safety net, connecting individuals and families through personal and community crisis to connect them to health and human services in our community. We are funded. We are fortunate to have so many partners who support the work of 211 Tampa Bay Cares and 211 in our community. And so here's just a few of them. We do know what 211 is for the most part. I wanted to share this screen since it is National 211 Day, and to let folks know that 211 is accessible from phones, and 95.6% of the US population has access. They can dial it on their cell phone, they can dial it on their landline. And I have to tell you, 20 years ago, that was not the case. And here in Pinellas County, we were the 2nd in Florida and 8th in the nation to set up 211, have it accessible for our residents. And now there's about 230 of those centers across the United States. So we've been doing this a while here in Pinellas County, and we're really on the cutting edge 20 years ago. I also, 20 years ago, moving on to our next slide with some fast stats. I was thinking back this morning, I remember when we put 211 in and worked with all the telecom companies to make that happen. A big year before 211 came into our lives here in Pinellas County, 30,000 calls. That was a big, big year that we would have come in. So for last year, we handled 199,000 calls, emails, and chats that did come in from people who were needing help, which was a 63% increase from the previous year. So those are calls that all of our team handled and helped connect them with local services. We had in total, just phone calls alone, 160,000 incoming telephone calls, and that was a 73% increase from the previous year, with a peak in November, just not too long ago, in November, of 144% increase in calls. And remember, each call is a family and individual who's going, I don't know where to turn. I need help. Where do I go from here? We had 118,000 referrals to all of our community partners. We have a database of 3,000 services available to families and individuals in our community. 41,000 texters. Over these 20 years, we added texting that you can not only call, but you could also text your zip code to 898-211. We had 26,000 online database visitors searching our online database for services. Did almost 2,000, 1,900 suicide lethality assessments of people calling in who are either indicating a harm to themselves. We want to make sure that we're getting those people connected to services as quickly as possible that can help them. And just in general, 3,000 seniors, 4,000 youth, 2,000 veterans. And we had an overall for the whole year, in light of everything that was happening, which I think is amazing, is still a 94% customer satisfaction rate. To focus a little bit back on CARES, to give some of those numbers as Lourdes shared earlier, it's approximately 24 million. We still have some landlords that are cashing checks out in the community for some of their tenants. So we're waiting on those, but it is over $24 million at this point that we assisted with rent, mortgage, utilities, 8,600 households. And as Laura said earlier, 21,000 vendor payments. I do want to add that of that 24 million for families with minor children, 211 Tampa Bay Cares and our Pinellas County government and everybody here on this call helped get 9.8 million of the 24 million to house 3,100 households for families with minor children. And so I just wanted to highlight that as well. Obviously, we need to remember it's not just adults in our community, but the children as well who are impacted just as much. I want to talk a little bit about the needs in our community. If folks do not know who's joined us today, we do have all of our data and needs of people calling in real time. And I really call it, it's the voice of the people. This is what the people calling in are saying, this is what they are needing help with. And so this is up to date as of yesterday. There's a link on our website to it. And it does list by major categories for what was needed. So I put up here today for January 1st through December 31st. Obviously, you can see housing and shelter. We know a lot of financial assistance. Rent assistance was the largest in that category. We also we're tracking healthcare and COVID calls. Obviously, COVID-19, this was about information, symptoms, testing, and treatment. We were directing people to the health department and those resources. 52% of those calls were about that. And then just a little note on each of you'll see these little people next to them. So I'm going, this is under healthcare. For health insurance, we have broken that down. You can now utilize that data for gender, veteran, and age. So I want to you can do percents and you can do counts as well. If you are looking to know what are people needing right now as of yesterday. This is live. There's a heat map as well. One of our large accomplishments this year was to work together with all our partners, other 211 colleagues. 211 Tampa Bay Cares led this effort of creating a statewide dashboard to really show community to community what is happening with the needs from each of the community. And so we help lead this with the governor's office and staff to be able to note what are the needs statewide and how each compare. I just want to share, if we're talking about needs, the housing and shelter category, because when we first created this and gathered up everyone's information in Florida, I actually reached out to the data vendor and said, I don't understand. I don't think this chart for highest rates and by zip code is working because I see all my Pinellas data in there. And he said, well, Mickey, your area has the largest requests for housing and needing assistance. So as you can see, several of our zip codes are in the top 10 in the state of requests for housing, rental assistance, utility assistance, shelter assistance in those counties. So you can see some of our zip codes: 33712, 33760, 33711. And there is a heat map you can see all throughout Florida and obviously the darker shades highlight where the higher concentrations of need are. So I just wanted to share that because that was a big, I thought a big accomplishment for us this year. Really helps us see how are we doing compared to other communities. Okay. So really looking at moving forward, what are we seeing right now that are emerging for needs? Some of these do not come as any surprise to anyone. Affordable housing, eviction, prevention, resources, food, even though people are not calling for food, food is still really important. I really think due to the early on in the pandemic of getting the information out to the community about where they could have access to food, that they would go back to that same place that they already knew about. So we did have food calls high at the beginning, like March and April, but that really has died off since a lot of those resources have come on, but still really important. Obviously mental health. I will tell you the calls that we were handling, even though they were for rent, utility, assistance, that people were really in crisis and were really needing emotional support and really having somebody be there to listen. They had never been in this situation. They were scared and many are still scared and really worried about what they're going to do next. Legal services, we're starting to hear that over the last couple of weeks. Legal services, the request, and not just about eviction or injunction information, but really legal services about their financial situation, about how to handle those issues that they're facing. Two issues I wanted to add. They're not really a community need, but I think a reflection on areas that we may want to watch and keep in mind as we do community planning. Access to services. We do have a lot of resources here in Pinellas County. As I said earlier, we have about 3,000 services in the database. But referral source for those programs can be very limited. So for example, if somebody was in the community and needing help and they had never accessed anywhere before, they may not be able to access that program because the referral source requires from another service provider. They couldn't access those services directly. And we're starting to see a lot of that. We have a lot of maybe some of our housing programs, but you can't access those without being from another provider, which could have limited eligibility. Our eligibility for many of our programs, and rightfully so, should be targeted to our most vulnerable folks. But I just want to keep in mind of some of the eligibility is narrowing a great deal that could maybe start causing some gaps for some of our residents here in Pinellas County. Online services, it's phenomenal, really excited there was an opportunity for online services. However, again, another reflection of, I know many seniors as well as some folks in the community really had trouble accessing those online services and try and work with, accessing those programs. Last but not least, limited capacity and intake hours. So maybe before the pandemic, many of our nonprofit partners in the community were available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, for folks to go to their organization and go through their intake process. We have seen that that has limited a great deal, obviously, because they need to follow CDC guidelines and keep people spread apart. So they have limited scheduling availability. But we are noticing some of the intake hours really being limited that could be also potentially, again, cause some future gaps for us in the community. So I wanted to highlight those for everyone. Moving forward in this next year, we are also continuing to focus our efforts on a community connections program for employers, which really provides employee and client support. We've had a couple groups reach out to us recently, so it's not just about their employees, but the clients that they serve, that they want to be able to provide information, specific, tailored, topical health and human service support information for them. So we're continuing our community connection program and offering that with local employers. We're also looking at our partnerships with our faith community. We have just also launched our Bridging the Resource Gap webinar series for the faith community to really educate them. They also are a gateway Many people go to them seeking help, don't know where to turn. And so we're working together with the faith community of educating what those resources are. Obviously, we're going to continue to focus our partnerships on our colleagues in the health and human services industry. And we are, instead of meeting in person, we used to do a lot of tours. Now we're doing just virtual meetings. And so if you're interested in any of those, certainly be in touch with me. As I finish up our report today, I also really want to focus and thank the core partners of the CARES Financial Assistance Program. Pinellas County government in whole, as I said, not just human services, they provided 40 additional staff to help out. We met every night with those folks. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Duke Energy in a moment. Duke Energy as a partner, with their team at Duke Energy, they were fabulous. We were almost joined at the hip through this process of really helping people with their overdue electric bills. And we really thank the entire Duke Energy team for helping us work through many of those situations for those individuals and family. And then I also want to thank, there were 3, Pinellas County, the Juvenile Welfare Board, and the Foundation for Healthy St. Petersburg. We did have to keep everyone socially distant with CDC guidelines and having to have enough space and facility space for people to safely process those applications. And we could not have done it without any of our partners. And we really want to thank the Foundation for Healthy St. Pete, JW, and Pinellas County for stepping up and offering us space for that. I really want to share with everyone, 201 Tampa Bay Cares gets many, and I could spend an hour or so going through all the thank you notes, probably several hours. But I wanted to share with the core group here, as well as those who are attending who also were very active in helping with the Pinellas Cares program, some thank yous that we did receive. It's because even though they mentioned 201, it was really all of us working together on this. So this one, because of you, my life is better. You helped me avoid homelessness. It made me feel special, important, and I will never forget you. This one is, I just wanted to tell you how appreciative and thankful I am to you for looking at my case and sending the payment to my apartment complex. I moved to Florida 5 years ago by myself and I don't know anyone. And since COVID, I have lost 2 part-time jobs and most of my full-time job. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart and Merry Christmas. I'm so grateful for your help with my rent. Thank you. Your organization has been a lifesaver and a game changer for me. I'm so very thankful and eternally grateful. I want to thank you all for the help you have given me in this past year. I'm more grateful than you will ever know. From my first call in with Dwight to my last approval conversation with the same young man, I was treated courteously, respectfully, and by everyone on staff there. I'm very grateful and want to thank each and every one for their kindness and thank the organization of 201 for its generosity and goodness. God bless you all. And again, I want to really do a huge shout out to the Pinellas County Human Services staff, who is also working together on this program and doing those applications. They were involved, the folks, obviously 201's easy to remember. And so I want to really make a big shout out to that team as well. Lastly, I want to say this was about a woman who reached out to us for help. Thank you so much. This has been a heavy weight, waking up each morning and not knowing what's going to happen. I've never been in this situation before, and working with this program has been a blessing. And so again, I want to say, even though they mentioned this is 2-in-1, it really is a collective effort on behalf of everyone. And I really want to thank everyone for all their support on behalf of the community and all the individuals and families who we helped with this program. Just think about that, 8,600 households that were impacted, that we were able to make a difference. So thank you to everybody. With that, I wanted to take the opportunity to really, as we move into, I'm going to introduce Jeff Baker, who's with the Government and Community Relations Manager with Duke Energy, to share a few words. And we were very honored to be selected by Duke Energy and in partnership with the Tampa Bay Rays through their home run sponsorship program, which is themed Powering Through Together. And as I was thinking about this over the last several days, wow, even though that was set, early on, the first part before the season began, how powering through together truly became the theme of this last year, and especially in working in the Pinellas Cares program. And so, Jeff, we are so grateful. It was such a special season. Who would have guessed the Rays make it all the way to the World Series when 2-1 had been selected for this? So we are so grateful, and we really want to share that. And if you could carry that message back to Duke Energy as well, we're just so grateful for your support in this program as well. So with that, Jeff, I'd like to introduce you again, and if you want to share a few words, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can see you.
Thank you so much, Mickey. I can still reflect back on, I believe it was March the 13th, and that was the day that I was told, you're going to go home for the next 2 weeks and work from home. And historically, that's not something we did a lot of at Duke Energy, but we thought we were going home for 2 weeks and we would come back and our world would be the same. But those next 2 weeks provided insight to all of us that, our world probably is never going to be the same. And, immediately as we saw things unfolding, we knew that we had to shift practically every strategy that we have at Duke Energy. And, while our purpose is to power the lives of our customers and the vitality of the community, ultimately, our expertise is in energy delivery and not social services. So, we had internal conversations, but we also had some wise counsel from some community leaders that you would all know. Beth Houghton, for one, reached out to me, Reverend Haynes from the Urban League, and, in consultation with internal staff, external leaders, like I mentioned, we immediately we stopped, disconnection for non-pay. We waived any kind of late fees, credit card fees, return check fees, etc. We even, which, for a utility and working with the Florida Public Service Commission, typically when we do a filing, we're talking about a months long process, but we made a filing with the Public Service Commission on April the 2nd to allow us to reduce our May bills by 21%, which, nothing happens that fast in utility land usually. So we were moving at a very rapid pace. But also at that same time, historically, we have always had a long-term partnership with the Tampa Bay Rays, where we tie a portion of our philanthropic giving to their success on the field each year. For the past 3 or 4 years, we've done a program that's called Victories for Veterans, where we gave $1,000 to a veterans-related organization based on each win. But of course, at that same time, the Rays season was in. It was unknown what was going to happen, so everything was kind of paused, and we made the decision that probably wasn't the best path for us to proceed on, given everything that was happening. And at this same time, and Lourdes referred to earlier, the county was having daily calls with a lot of their partners. It was led by the county EOC staff. So I was, even though I was familiar with 211 before this, these calls and meetings that I was watching on TV, county commission meetings, etc. Every conversation, 211 Tampa Bay Cares came up. So it was like, wow, they must be doing some really amazing things. Also talking to our internal staff, and I know several of the people that on your team, they work closely with some folks at our staff, and I have to give them credit. It's Joe, Lee, Nina, Jessica, Tammy, and Lee and Ken. They're telling me that you're sending with so many payments to us that they're not even able to process them timely and that sort of thing. And it was, so again, 211 kept coming up. So it was, you were doing such great work in the community, everyone was recognizing it. And then it just so happened, it was one of those things that, the Rays reached back out. They had a little more clarity on their season. And so they reached back out and said, we're not going to have the traditional season where we bring fans in. So let's pivot. And that's how the whole powering through together came about, because we knew that, we had longstanding partnerships. So we knew we wanted to do something. So then we were talking to them, and rather than do it, since it was a shortened season, rather than doing the $1,000 per win that we had done, we decided we would do $1,000 per home run. Now, of course, the Rays told me, based on statistics, and we all know how statistics work, that the team would probably hit about 60 home runs during the season. Well, we all know that's not what happened, which is a great thing for the Rays, the community, and 211. But so, we had allocated about $60,000 for this particular program. And of course, I had reached out to Mickey and talked to her and found out that, while she was getting a lot of funding from Pinellas Cares, et cetera, she wasn't getting a lot of funding that was unrestricted, et cetera. And her needs were growing greatly, just as the amount of work was growing at 211. So it just was a organically born, but the most natural partnership that could have ever happened. And it was just amazing. And then, of course, the Rays did an amazing job. And of course, I think they scored about 90 home runs in the season. And then, of course, they went to the postseason playoffs, and they're doing great things. They're great partners. We couldn't say no, that we're not going to stop the postseason playoff. So we actually decided to even give $2,000 per home run during postseason. So all in all, it was a great season for the Rays, and we were able to contribute $123,000 to Tampa Bay, 211 Tampa Bay Cares. And of course, I had to call Mickey and explain to her, because I said, you're going to get multiple checks, because we were literally taking it from one pot of money and another pot of money. But it was, it has certainly opened my eyes to the great work that is happening at 211 Tampa Bay Cares. And this community is so fortunate to have a resource, because now, if anyone ever came to me and said, hey, I'm in a desperate situation, the first thing I would say is call 211, because what you and your team have done has just been amazing for this community. And we certainly applaud all that you are doing and appreciate how you have helped so many people in this community during this time.
Thank you so much, Jeff. And again, we cannot thank Duke Energy, certainly, and the Tampa Bay Rays, but really for the daily work we were doing together, to like the team you mentioned, as well as to the financial support to help us. As I mentioned, our phone bill got really high. So this really assisted us in helping to pay for that and to keep us being able to answer those phones. So thank you so much, Jeff, and thank you to the entire Duke Energy team. With that, I'd like to now switch and introduce Pinellas County Commissioner Charlie Justice. So honored, and we thank you so much for joining us today. Just share a little bit your thoughts about the pandemic and our lessons learned, and our partnership.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me to be part of today's meeting and recognition. And I bring greetings on behalf of the entire Pinellas County Commission, especially our chair, Dave Eggers, who really regrets not being able to attend but had a conflict. And before I start, really, I want to thank you, Mickey, and everyone so far that I've heard talk, for recognizing the county employees and the work they've done. People don't see and they don't understand how many folks we have working behind the scenes that put their heart and soul into their job. I still remember one of the first days I was a county commissioner, I got a tour of our traffic facility and our utilities facility. And these guys were so excited about making sure that the lights worked at the intersections. I mean, this was a big deal to them, and it's important work, but they were so excited about it because it was important to them. It was important to their community. They live here. And you see that every single department we have, and we've really seen it this year. We see it during hurricanes with our emergency operations team, but our health and human services team, our marketing and communicating the information that's so important, not only in the early days of trying to figure out from the governor's order what was open, what was closed, mask, no mask, all those kind of things, but to now trying to communicate what vaccines are available to folks. And so our team just does really, really incredible work. And I'm glad you recognize them, and I wanted to make a moment that we recognize them as well. It's great to kind of take a day, and one, you have your own special day of February 11th, so it's nice that you get your day. But it's important for every organization to do this to say, stop and take a look. What have we done last year? What did we learn? What can we do better next year? And really, this year was a year like none other, as we've all talked about. And so it's the norm, but it's not the norm. It's important to step back and look and say, what have we learned? What did we really know was the most important things that we could do as an organization to serve our community? And we looked at it, and our staff tells me that 211 basically did 5 years work in 1 year with the amount of volume, pure volume, and the partnerships that you had. And so I want to salute everyone on your team and the ability to roll in our employees to be part of that team and other community organizations. And I looked at the list of participants in today's meeting and see so many great community partners and great community leaders in our nonprofits that provide services out there. So I'm really thrilled to be part of your meeting today. I looked at your vision statement. You talked about your mission statement, but I looked at your vision statement. It talks about a more compassionate community by connecting knowledge to needs. And really that's the highlight of the year. There's so many times during times of tragedy and struggle that folks kind of, I call it hunker down. They want to withdraw into themselves and to their home. They want to hide away a little bit. But that's not what our county folks did. And that's not what you all did. You went the opposite. You reached out to the community and said, how can I help? How can I serve? And really, we would not have been able to get through the year, and we're not done yet, but to get through the year without the service of so many folks in your organization that truly demonstrate what a compassionate community Pinellas County is. And so that's where we look back and we see those numbers that you all talked about, and they're stark numbers. But I also look back at those numbers and see optimism and reasons for us to be looking forward to know that when times are tough, this community rallies together. And again, like I said, we're not done. We've got more challenges, more hurdles, but it gives you confidence that we can meet those challenges when you look back and see the successes that we have had this past year. So as the County Commission does every year, I did want to bring our official proclamation recognizing today. And Mickey, we'll deliver you the nice framed official copy at some point. But let me just read the remarks in our proclamation. Whereas every day, residents and visitors contact 211 to access free and confidential crisis and emergency counseling, disaster assistance, food, healthcare and insurance assistance, stable housing and utility payment assistance, employment services, veteran services, child care, family services. And whereas 211 provides expert caring help by listening, identifying underlying problems, and connecting people in need with resources and services. And whereas 211 meets real needs in real time. In 2020, 211 partnered with Pinellas County to provide over $24 million in federal CARES Act funds to over 8,600 individual and family households, assisting with overdue mortgage, rent, utilities, and additional needs. And whereas in 2020, 211 responded to over 199,000 calls, emails, online requests, and text messages. And whereas 211 tackles root causes of a client's problem by identifying the presenting underlying issue and connecting them with a wide range of available resources. And whereas 211 exemplifies our community's fight for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. And whereas 211 has its finger on the pulse of our community's greatest needs, providing health and human services trend data to local community planners. And whereas 211 makes the social services ecosystem network more efficient by ensuring people in need are connected to community services that can help them. Therefore, be it proclaimed by the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners that February 11th, 2021 be recognized as National 211 Day in Pinellas County, Florida. And we encourage all our fellow citizens to join in this special observance. Again, Mickey, thank you to you and your team for all the great work you do. We're very proud of Pinellas County, the partnership that we have, and look forward to that continuing. And again, really appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. Thank you, Mickey.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Justice. And, on behalf of our entire organization and all the individuals and families that we serve, we really are grateful for support from Pinellas County government. And like I said, from everyone, Board of County Commissioners to Human Services, to the Communications Department, to the Utilities team that also came out to help manage cases as well. So we hope today, this is such an honor celebrating National 211 Day. We'd like to ask everybody who's joined us today to really help us celebrate the rest of today and this week. If you could join us by educating at least 2 people, that's usually what we ask people to do, 2 people, to let them know about what 211 is here for people if they need help, and the important work that 2-in-1 does here in our community to help us celebrate. That would be really great. So with that, I want to thank everyone on behalf of our board of directors, our volunteers, our entire staff. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. And we'll hope that you have a wonderful week. Know we appreciate each and every one of you, all of our partners who are on our panel today, but everyone who also joined us in the attendees and those that didn't. We really value you, your teams, and all you do each and every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all of us, to make Pinellas County a brighter place for everyone here in our community. So thank you so much. And I wish all of you a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining us.